Okay, good morning to one and all. So now this is the third class of our CAO, Computer Architecture and Organization. Okay, so in the last class we have discussed about the memory concepts, right? So in the main memory we are having general purpose registers and PC program counter instruction registers MAR MDR like that. So we have discussed this diagram in the last class. Now what is the main thing we want to discuss is in this class we are going to discuss about the registers one by one. So as we have seen in the diagram, that you can see in the diagram that there are different types of registers now: MAR memory address register, MDR ALU, PC, IR, and R0 to R of n-1. I have already told about R0 to R of n-1. They are nothing but the general purpose registers. So R0 to R of n-1 are nothing but general purpose registers. Okay. So along with the general purpose registers, in this class we are going to discuss about what is meant by PC, what is meant by IR, what is meant by MAR, and what is meant by MDR. Okay. Okay, so if you observe here, so we are moving to the next slide. Okay, so we have to discuss about these registers. What are the different types of registers we are having here? First one is instruction register, program counter, memory address register, and memory data register. So these are the special registers, not general purpose registers. For any processor, we are having R0 to R of n-1 general purpose registers. That means the name itself indicates that they are used for general purpose. So we are not going to discuss much more about those general purpose registers. But what we are mostly concentrating on these type of registers. Okay, so these are somewhat special registers. And one more thing I want to say, these registers are the first two registers. These registers are very important. When you go to if you discuss in the next semester MPMC, there also you will encounter with this instruction register and program counter registers. Okay, so now we are going to discuss one by one. Okay, first of all, what is meant by program counter? Okay, so it consists the memory address of the next instruction to be executed. What does it mean? As we know that a program is nothing but set of instructions. So you all are familiar with this now. What is a program? Program is nothing but, 1 minute, I'll just adjust myself so that we will get some clarity. So a program means nothing but a set of instructions. You all are familiar with that. Okay, so what is a program counter means? See, if we are executing for example, my program has some 10 instructions. Okay, so the processor is going to execute one by one instruction. So we already discussed that the instructions will be stored in the memory. Okay, they will be taken from the memory to ALU, arithmetical and logical unit, in order to perform any operation. Okay, here what is the main purpose of program counter means? If I am executing a particular program, my ALU is executing the third instruction. After executing the third instruction, it has to execute the fourth instruction, isn't it or not? So all the instructions are stored in the memory. So whenever the ALU is executing the third instruction, it is necessary to store the address of the next instruction. Okay, so the next instruction address will be stored in the program counter. Okay, that means it is just like whenever a function is going on in our college, and if a particular person is receiving the prize, then it is necessary to know who is the next person who has to get that award. Here also the same thing. Whenever a particular instruction is being executed, and so this program counter will store the address of the next instruction to be executed after executing the current instruction. So it will enhance the speed of operation, because whenever this particular instruction is being executed, then automatically program counter will give the address to the ALU, so that the ALU will take the instruction from that particular memory location. That is the purpose of this program counter. Next, instruction register. See that it holds the current register which is being under execution. That means program counter will hold the address of the next instruction, whereas instruction counter will deal with the present instruction. That too, the present instruction, if you specify any registers, because in order to execute any instruction we need some values or something na? So instruction register will deal with the present instruction which is being under execution. So if that present instruction needs any values, those values will be taken on the register. Values which will be used for executing the current instruction will be taken by the instruction register. So that is the purpose of this instruction register. So in program counter will take care of the address of the next instruction, whereas instruction register will take care of the present register which is under execution, but not the address. Instruction register will not bother about the address, it will bother about the register value, okay, which is under execution. Next, we are having two registers, two memory registers. What are they? Memory address register and memory data register. Here the name itself indicates memory address and memory data. See, what is meant by memory address register? Here the memory address register holds the data of register to be accessed. That means whereas memory data register, it contains the data that is to be written in or out from the memory location. What does it mean? So the memory data register, here the second register is there na? So the main purpose of this memory data register is it consists of some data. So okay, it consists of data, no problem. What is the purpose of it? That means it contains the data which can be written in another register, or it can be taken from the particular register. That is the purpose of this memory data register. Whereas memory address register, it holds the data of the register to be accessed. That means from which register we need to take the data, or we want from which register to which register we want to store the data. Okay, that particular register value or the particular register will be taken control by the memory address register. Okay, whereas memory data register contains the data which is taken from a particular register or which is going to be stored into a particular register. That is the difference between memory address register and a memory data register. So memory address register means it will hold the data of the register to be accessed, whereas memory data register, it consists of data. The particular data that is present in the memory data register will be stored. Where it will be stored? It will be stored in the address stored by MAR. MAR will hold some register na? So the data that is present in MDR will be stored in the register of MAR, or the data will be retrieved from the MAR to MDR. Okay na? అంటే మనం డేటాని ఎక్కడి నుండి అయితే తెచ్చుకుంటామో లేదంటే దేనిలో అయితే స్టోర్ చేస్తామో ఆ రిజిస్టర్ ఎవరి దగ్గర ఉండిద్ది లేదంటే ఎవరు చూసుకుంటాడంటే MAR అనేవాడు చూసుకుంటాడు. సో MAR అనేది అడ్రస్, దేని అడ్రస్? రిజిస్టర్ అడ్రస్. అది ఏ రిజిస్టర్ అడ్రస్ అంటే అక్కడ నుండి మనం డేటాని తీసుకోవటం కానీ లేదంటే దానిలోకి డేటాని పంపించటం కానీ చేస్తాం. సరే, తీసుకోవాలన్నా పంపించాలన్నా ఎవరు చూసుకుంటారంటే MDR, మెమరీ డేటా రిజిస్టర్. వీడు ఏం చేస్తాడంటే మెమరీ అడ్రస్ రిజిస్టర్ ఏదైతే రిజిస్టర్ ని హోల్డ్ చేసుకుంటుందో దానిలో ఉన్న డేటాని తీసుకోనైనా తీసుకోవచ్చు, లేదంటే తన దగ్గర ఉన్న డేటాని దానిలో ప్లేస్ అయినా చేయొచ్చు. ఓకేనా? క్లియరా? సో దట్ ఈస్ అబౌట్ దిస్ కాన్సెప్ట్, మెమరీ రిజిస్టర్స్. నెక్స్ట్, bus structure. What is meant by bus? Bus is nothing but group of bytes. We have already discussed, I think. So once again, as there is a topic that is appeared, so we are going to discuss about this bus structure. What is meant by a bus? Bus is nothing but the architectural definition of a bus is nothing but group of bytes. So a bus is nothing but a group of bytes. Okay. So what is the purpose of a bus? The definition of a bus, architectural definition means how it looks. Okay. So whenever if you see any, identify any bus, it consists of a bunch or group of bytes. They are placed side by side. Okay. What is the purpose of a bus? The purpose of a bus is similar to the bus what we are using in our real time. Okay, in real time we are going to use RTC buses, college buses, school buses, or what you will call city buses, whatever it may be. The main purpose of the bus is to transportation. It used to transport the persons from one place to another place. Here also the main purpose of the bus is transportation. It will send the information from one place to another place. Okay, so based on that we are having different types of buses: address bus, data bus, control bus, like that. Okay, address bus means it will transmit the address. Data bus means it will send some information from one place to another place. It will be referred as data bus. Control bus means by using that particular bus, we are going to control the operations performed by our CPU. That means we are going to control the speed of the operation. Okay, like that. So it will be referred as a control bus. Okay. So here also, bus is nothing but a group of wires or a group of lines. They are used for communication purpose. That means they are used for transportation. That means they are going to transmit the data from one place to the another place. Either it is data or address or control signals. The main thing is they will transport something by using them. Buses are also two types: unidirectional buses and bidirectional buses. Here in the diagram, you can see the bus that is connecting between processor to the main line. Consider this as some main streamline. Okay. Here the processor, the bus that is connecting the processor and memory, you can see two-sided arrow marks. Two-sided arrow marks. These buses will be referred as bidirectional buses. Okay. Whereas the buses that are connecting to output and input units, there you can see only arrow mark in only one direction. Arrow mark in only one direction. They are referred as unidirectional buses. So there are two types of buses: bidirectional bus and unidirectional bus. Bidirectional buses are used for two-way communication. They are used for two-way communication. That means by using those particular buses, we can transmit the data from processor to the other device and from other device to the processor. Okay. Similarly, from memory to that particular device, from that particular device to memory. Okay. Or if this is a connection like that, you can transmit the data from processor to memory by using this common bus. This will be referred as common bus. Okay. By using this common bus, as these are bidirectional, you can transmit the data from processor to memory or from memory to processor. Okay. But coming to this concept, here you can transmit the data only from input unit to this common bus. But you cannot get any data from common bus to this input unit because it is one directional. That too, it is output. It is showing the data transmission to the output side. Similarly, if you consider this bus, here you can just receive the data from the common bus, but you cannot transmit the data from output unit to this bus. So these two are unidirectional buses. This is input bus, similar to say this is okay, and these two are bidirectional buses. Okay, so that is the concept of bus. Buses can be classified into address bus, data bus, control bus. These things you are going to get in the next classes. Okay, so I think you all are clear with this slide. I'm moving to the next slide. Okay, now we want to discuss about one more concept called system software. Okay, this you need to learn, or you need to think about so much. We need to discuss about this concept for some time. What is meant by system software? So we have given the definition. See, it is a collection of programs, because software itself means, whenever you are going into a software field, other than testing and everything, the rest of the things what you need to do, software means what is the thing that will come into your mind is programming. Okay, here also we are having system software. So software means what is the thing that should come to your mind? It is nothing but programming. So software consists of programs. So it is nothing but a collection of programs that are executed as needed to perform the functions. So what is the main purpose of a system software means? So software means is nothing but collection of a programs. They are what you will call, they are executed when needed. That means I have 100 programs. Whenever I need a particular task, there will be a particular program that is dedicated to perform that particular task. Okay now. So at that particular instant of time, when I want to perform some Photoshop or something by using my system, then the programs that are written for performing that particular Photoshop, they are to be executed, but not MS Word and Excel programs. Whenever I am trying to do any MS Word or MS Excel or MS PowerPoint, that means whenever I am doing any, trying to do any PPTs, then the programs that are written for PPTs, they are to PowerPoint. The programs that are written for the PowerPoints, they need to be executed, but not our other programs like Paint or Microsoft Word programs like that. So that means a software is nothing but it is a collection of multiple programs. Because if you install any Windows Windows 7 or Windows 11, whatever it may be, Windows XP, whatever it may be, if you install any software, it should support all the things now. It should support Microsoft Office, it should support PowerPoint, what do you call Paint, it should support internet, it should support much more things, right? Animations, all these things it need to be supported. That means there will be a multiple number of programs that are written for a software, and all the programs are not going to be executed simultaneously. Whenever the user is performing a particular task, the programs that are related to that particular task are to be executed, and they have to give the result required output, or they have to perform the desired function. That means if I am trying to do any PowerPoint presentation, okay, so I have some Microsoft XP or whatever the software I have. For example, Microsoft 7 software I have. Okay, so it is also a group of programs. Then what are the programs that are to be executed when I am performing a Microsoft PowerPoint? Means the programs that are related to PowerPoint, but not to MS Word, or but not to Paint, or but not to any AutoCAD, or but not to any ECAD. If I have installed some ECAD software, the programs that are related to ECAD software, there is no need of execution. Okay, these programs that are related to the PowerPoint are need to be executed to perform the PowerPoint presentation operation. Okay, so that is the thing, that is common thing. Okay, so here also they have given the definition like this: it is a collection of programs that are executed as needed to perform the functions. So a particular software has to perform multiple number of operations. What are the operations? See here, just it is given like this. First, receiving and interrupting the user commands. What does it mean? So if I am typing something, it needs to receive now. For example, I am using this mouse, isn't it? So I am using this mouse. I have been moving like this. Here there are multiple number of options that are appearing: pause, or here more, chart, something. Okay, that means what it is doing, I am performing some task. Okay, that means I am giving some commands by using this mouse. It is receiving the commands, as well as I can give the commands by using what you will call this keyboard also. So it is receiving my commands. That is the first thing. And interrupting the user commands. Whenever I have given some unwanted commands, it has the capability of interpreting also. So that is the first thing, receiving the commands. That means if I give any instruction by using my mouse or my keyboard to this particular processor, it has to receive. Okay, and it has to analyze what I have given. If I have used this command of stop sharing, it has to stop. Or if I have given the command of stop video, see I have given the command of stop video, you are not able to see my video. So this is what the thing it has to perform, isn't it? That is receiving my command, and it is doing the required task. Next, second one, entering and editing the application programs. So this is very much you are familiar. Entering and editing the application programs. So that means it can either see that what does it means I am recording some audio. Later on, if I want to do any changes, that means if I want to cut any portion, there is a flexibility of cutting that particular portion which is not required. That is nothing but editing. Editing means to make some changes. Or for example, I have recorded this video for much more time. It was very it consumes a lot of GB of data. It becomes somewhat difficult for me in order to share this file. Then there is an option of compressing now. For example, if you have any document of multiple number of pages, you cannot transmit it directly. For that purpose, what you are going to do, you are going to compress the data into a RAR file or zip file, then you will mail it. Isn't it or not? So that is the second thing. First of all, it has to entering and editing the application programs. Third, running standard application programs. So that means whenever we switch on the computer, there will be some programs that are going to be running in between, and it has to run a standard programs. That means whenever you have a computer, it has to run at least Google. If you have any net connectivity, it should support Google Chrome or some softwares. Isn't it or not? And it should support MS Word and Excel. If any computer is not supporting PowerPoint or Excel or Word something, then is it a reliable computer or is it a reliable software? We don't go for that software, isn't it or not? Because it has to, if you have any computer or software, some OS, whatever it may be, Windows or something, Excel, Windows 7 or 5 or whatever it may be, or some other company OS, it should support, at least it should support MS Office, it should support net connectivity, it should support Paint, it should support animations, like that. These are the basic features any system has to support. So those will be referred as standard applications. Okay. And controlling IO units. IO means input output units. So for example, if I am moving like this, the mouse like this, it is being moving, it's been moving, so it is controlling the input output units. So there will be a control of input output units. Linking and running user written application programs with existing standard library programs. What does it mean? You all are familiar with C, I think. So in the C program, starting of any program, what you are going to write? Hash include stdio.h, hash include conio.h. What does it mean? stdio means standard IO, conio. Okay. So what are those two things? Hash include stdio.h, conio.h means .h indicates header files. Isn't it or not? What are mean by header files? They were already written, predetermined. Isn't it or not? So our computer has to support those header files. Here also the same thing is going to happen. Here, linking and running the user written application programs with the existing standard library routines. Wow. So this is the best example what I have told. If you have a C program, okay na, so you install your C software, C, okay. So obviously there is a program. Whenever you write hash include stdio.h and hash include conio.h, what it is going to be happened? It is automatically linking with the header files called standard IO and conio. Isn't it or not? So by using those header files only, you are going to get all the operations being done. If you haven't included those two files, obviously you will get some errors in writing in execution or in the answer. That is the same thing that is happening. Okay. So these are the basic features that a system software should possess. So what is mean by system software? Software itself means it is a group of programs. So the software should consist of a group of programs, but all the programs should not be executed simultaneously. The programs that are to be executed when needed to perform a particular task. That means if I want to operate any PowerPoint presentation, now I am operating PowerPoint presentation with Zoom, then the softwares, the programs that are related to this PPT and Zoom app, they need to be executed, but not all the rest of the programs. Okay. Next, what the system software has to do? It needs to take the commands. That means it needs to receive the commands. That is the second thing. And you can either enter the data, and if there is any possibility, you can edit the data. That is also should be provided by the system software. Next, it should control IO. That is the common thing. Input output device has to be controlled by the software. If not, there is no use of using any software. Okay. Next, it has to, what it has to do, it has to link our program with the standard library files. The best example is I have given now. You should, everyone is very much familiar with those two lines. In order to write any program in the C, you used to write those two lines: hash include stdio.h, conio.h. H means header files. Header files means predetermined files. That means the definition will be written predeterminedly, and they have stored in the library. So they also referred as library files or header files or standard library files. So whenever you are doing any particular task, you have our software has that, should have the flexibility or should have the option of linking our main program to that particular header files or standard library files. So these are the features of a system software. Okay, I think you all are clear. Next one, performance. So what is mean by a performance of a computer? See, performance of a computer. Okay, before discussing this concept, we need to know about how the what are the different types of process that are evaluated in the recent years. That means from 2002. Okay, initially we are having a dual core processor. Okay, I think you all are familiar now. Dual core and core to duo. After that core to duo or dual core, what are the processor that came? i3 processor. After i3 processor, i5. After i5, i7. Now I think i9 came or not. Okay, whatever it may be, i7 processor. Isn't it or not? So previously you are having a dual core, core to duo. From core to duo you have moved to i3. From i3, i5, i5 to i7. I think now i11, i9 or i11, I don't know. Okay, so this is the implementation of different types of process. Okay, so our main concept is, what we are going to discuss is about performance. So how can you calculate or how can you measure the performance of a system? From core to duo, why we have moved to i3? What is the basic or best feature that was present in i3, or what is the best advantage of i3 when compared to the dual core or core to duo, or what is the best advantage of i5 compared to i3? The main thing, what if I ask any person what is its special feature, means the first thing what we are going to tell is it is much more speeder, or it is much more faster. That's what we used to tell now. What is the advantage of that particular phone compared to this phone is, the first thing what we used to see is its speedness. That means processor capability or processor performance. How speed it is, we can operate that particular phone or computer. That is the first feature. So now if there is any mobile phones, what are the other features we are seeing is its internal storage capability. So storage capability is not a problem in a processor, because whatever it may be, whether it is dual core or core to duo or i3, in our PCs or laptops, you can extend the memory to a greater extent. That is nowhere concerned with the processor, or very little bit concerned with the processor, because how much amount we are using in our real time, that can be extended. That amount can be extended whether you are using i3 processor or i5 or i7. That is not a problem. Okay, so what is the main thing we are going to see in our real time is how fast it is giving the output. Okay, here also the performance, it will mostly depends upon how quickly it is completing the given operation, or for a given input how fast it is giving the output. Okay, how fast we can operate that particular system. Okay, so that is the main concept of performance. So performance means how quickly we can execute the given task. That means if any program is written, how quickly it is going to perform that particular task and how fast it is giving the output. So its quick response is the main feature for a performance of any operating system or whatever software, system software or processor, whatever you say. Okay, so what is the main advantage of i5 compared to i3 means, the main thing what we used to say is, first feature is its speed. So here also performance which mostly depends on how quickly it can execute the programs, how quickly, how fast it is going to give the response. That is the main feature of a performance. Okay, now so how on what factors this particular performance is going to be dependent. So what are the factors that will help in improving the performance? The main factors are design of hardware and its machine level instructions. First one is hardware designing. Hardware designing is the main feature. Okay. Second one is machine language instructions. That means if we give an instructions that are very much small and which takes a less time for execution, then automatically it will execute the given program in a no time. If I give any complex instructions, the execution of the instructions will take a lot of time, which in results gives the poor performance, isn't it or not? So the main factors that affects the performance is, first one is hardware features. That means how the components are interconnected. Okay, if all the components are interconnected within no space, then it is very much easy to transmit the data from one place to another place. If not, if the particular component is processor is placed here and input device is placed far away and the output device is placed this side far away, it will take a lot of time for communication. Okay, isn't it or not? If they are placed side by side, automatically within no time they can communicate with each other and they can give the output. Okay, so that's what they have mentioned here. It depends upon the design of the hardware, and also the main thing is how the instructions are written, because software is nothing but programs. So how the instructions are written, how simply the programs are the instructions are written. If the instructions are simple, it will take less number of clock cycles for its execution. So obviously it will increase the speed of the operation. So that is about this performance. And here we are having one slide. This mainly indicates about cache and CPU core and bus. So at present, don't bother about this slide. We have a detailed slide in the next, which will deal about give an information about what is meant by cache memory. Okay, so at present, don't bother about this slide. Next, what is meant by a processor clock? So this is very important. Okay, what is meant by a clock? So what is meant by a clock? I have given a simple definition. Clock is a timing signal. Very good. What is the purpose of the clock? See, we have just now we have told our previous. We'll just move to the previous slide. What is the heading of this slide? Performance. Okay. So what we have mentioned here, how quickly it can execute the programs, isn't it, Anna? So how quickly it is executing the programs will be depending on the clock frequency. Okay, na? So how quickly a processor is going to be executing a task will be depending on the clock what we are giving. Okay, for clock we are going to give a particular frequency that will be referred as clock frequency. You all are familiar about the relation between frequency and time period. So the time period is nothing but inverse of frequency is nothing but a time period. So here what we are going to give is we are going to give a particular clock frequency. So obviously it will calculate the inverse of frequency so that we are going to get a time period. So what is the thing you have to remember is, for a high performance we need to give a high frequency. If the clock frequency is high, then the time period will be less, because frequency f is equal to 1 by t na. So f is equal to 1 by t. So if the frequency is high, then the time period is going to be less. What is mean by time period? The time taken for executing a single cycle. The time taken to for one cycle, for complete cycle, is called time period. Okay. So if the time period is less, that means in a given time it can perform multiple number of operations, isn't it or not? Time period means the time taken to perform one operation. If it is very less, then obviously in a given time you can perform multiple number of operations. If the time period is more, that means in order to execute an instruction, if you are taking much more time, obviously in order to execute a program, it will take a lot of time. So that is the concept that what here they have mentioned. So clock is a timing signal, so it gives the time. What for which time it is going to give means execution time, the time taken for executing an instruction. Okay, higher the clock frequency, I am discussing about clock frequency. Higher the clock frequency, lower the time of execution. That means the processor performance is very good. If the clock frequency is less, then the time period for executing will be more, then its performance will be less. Okay, so there is a formula for clock cycle and clock rate. Clock rate R is equal to 1 by P. 1 by P. That means 1 by clock signal. Okay, next, basic performance equation. Please remember this basic performance equation and clock rate formula. Clock rate is nothing but 1 by frequency, 1 by P I have given. Next, basic performance equation, T is equal to N into S by R. This I will give a what you will call brief introduction afterwards. At this time you just remember these two. Clock rate R is equal to 1 by P. What is the purpose of a processor clock? It will depend. It will determine the timing. It is a timing signal. Depending upon the processor clock, we are for a processor clock we are going to give a particular frequency, 1 megahertz frequency, 10 megahertz frequency, like that. So as we are familiar now, frequency is inversely proportional to time period. Depending on the frequency, it will calculate the time period. Okay, at that particular time period, it will operate the operations. If you give a large amount of frequency, then the time period is going to be less. That means it will perform the operations in very less time. Okay, if the frequency is less, then the time period is going to be more. That means it will take a lot of time to execute the given task. Okay, so that is about this processor clock. I think we can stop this video for this time.